Welcome to everyone who's joining us. This is Impact 2022. I am your host, Nathaniel Watkins. For those of you who've been here before, this is our continuing conversation where we talk about everything, current events, race, religion, everything that you can possibly think of. And as this is a conversation, please feel free to type your questions and your comments into the comment section. Like always, it's an important part of the conversation. Conversations don't go one way. So if you have anything to say about anything that's discussed today, please feel free to go ahead and put it into the section. And so we're just going to hop right into our topic. And you think you may not know, but you know what we're going to talk about today, because it is the number one topic that's going on out here in the world today. And it is the Oscars, the 2022 Oscars. And at the Oscars, there was a surprise event. And so to set it up, Chris Rock, a famous comedian, was getting ready to present an award. And while he was getting ready to present an award, like comedians do, he came up and he dropped some jokes. And one of the jokes was towards Jada Pinkett Smith. And Jada Pinkett Smith has been dealing with alopecia. And for those of you who may not know, that is a condition where you start to lose your hair. And for women, more so, they talk about alopecia because you just start to lose some of your hair. And so he made a joke. And a joke which is now the most famous joke of all time, I consider it, where he said that he couldn't wait to see her in G.I. Jane 2. And so if you don't get that reference, it makes sense. It's okay reference. Not the greatest joke in the world, not the worst joke in the world, but what happened following next was that Will Smith, Jada Smith's husband, got up on the stage and smacked Chris Rock in the face. Then walked back to his seat and began to curse and say, keep my wife's effing name out of your mouth. So that's where we are. And we have a guest on so that we can get right into it. And so our guest is Chris. Chris, I don't even want to taint what you're going to say. Give me your initial reaction when you first saw this. Now let me preface that, because most people I know, we didn't see it real time. Like me and a lot of other people that I know didn't see the Oscars. So it's not a thing that we generally watch, or I generally watch, unless something exciting is going to go on. So most people probably saw it secondhand, whether it be on Twitter, whether it be on YouTube, whether it be on some other kind of medium. And so, that's why I preface this as saying, when you first found out about it, what was your just initial reaction?
My initial reaction is, man, listen. I guess some part of me is a cheerleader for stuff like that. Because I thought at first it was staged. I thought they put it together, and I was like, but then when he sat down, I was like, wow, this was real. And so part of me was kind of like, yeah, this is great TV. But then afterwards, I was like, a little disappointed. A little disappointed in Will. Because this was his first time, I think, winning the Academy Award, right?
Yes, this is his first Oscar.
I think it's his first time winning it. And we're not talking about the fact that he's the third or fourth, maybe fifth Black man to win the award. We're talking about the fact that he smacked another Black man on the stage, And so it's disappointing to me. So I was more disappointed than anything. But he really caught him good though. He caught him real good. Like, and so I guess that initial shock, you were like, yo, he just smacked Chris Rock on the middle of the stage. You couldn't even believe that it happened. So, but it's disappointing to me.
You know, there's been a bunch of different reactions that have come out. One of the reactions came from Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the basketball player and also an activist who's really been out and talking. And he said it's disappointing because, you know, similar to what you said, but disappointing because as a black man, it kind of pushes that stereotype of the angry black man and that black men can't control themselves and things like that. And so even when you, and now I'm expanding upon what he's saying, there's some people who believe that. So you put together a person who is extremely wealthy, famous, supposed to be polished, and at the end of the day, he's still just some little ruffian out here just putting his hands on people, can't control his anger. And that was Kareem's point of view. And again, I'm paraphrasing some stuff, so I'm putting a little bit of words in his mouth, but that was the basis of what he was saying. When you hear that, man, when you hear people are saying, man, it's doing stereotypes, or, you know, this is our one shot. Well, not one shot, but we don't get that many opportunities to be out here in front of the world, and you basically embarrass the culture. What do you think about when you hear that?
I don't think what he did was a racial thing. You know, I think somebody disrespected his wife, or at least, you know, in his spirit, you know, he felt like his wife was disrespected. And, you know, people have been picking on him for the past couple of years because of what, you know, past couple of months, because of, you know, what Jada's been talking about. And I feel like that was like the last time somebody was going to publicly say something crazy about him. And he said, look, I think everybody has a point where they just say, that's enough. And Will Smith was make fun of my wife in front of all these people. Right, that was my straw. And that was his straw. So, I mean, am I mad at Will Smith? No. I'm disappointed because I think there's so many different ways he could have handled that. But am I mad at Chris Rock? No, because that's what Chris Rock does. Right. I mean, that's his gig, that's his profession. So,
and that's one of the points that we kind of got to lean on is, you know, I was speaking with a gentleman, and he was basically saying, man, it's open season on comics right now, because you already had the whole cancel culture when anybody dropped a joke. So you had Dave Chappelle, you had some others where they were like, oh, your jokes are too, they this and they that, and they too mean, and we should cancel you out because you're making jokes. And now you have Will Smith, who may have just opened the floodgates on, yeah, man, when you get mad at somebody who's joking you, go ahead and hit him in the face. And so that was what the gentleman was saying. It's open season on comics. It's open season on anybody who, you know, says something that hurts your feelings. He gave such a bad example, because that's what we teach our kids not to do. And you go get up on stage and act like, you know, you smacked him and then you walked away like you did something, like you was proud of yourself, you know. And so my question is, what do you say to that? Is it open season on comics now? Can we not joke people anymore?
Well, you can't joke Will Smith in front of the Academy Awards. You can't do that anymore. And so I feel like, look, I mean, you got to respect the art of a comic, you know, but, you know, and you just really had to pay attention, like, to the world and not really be worried about what other people are saying. Like, Will Smith I'm going to go ahead and say he was wrong. He was wrong. I mean, one, he violated that man, and then he did it in front of so many people. He was wrong. And so, but he still needs to recognize, Chris Rock needs to recognize, you know what, there's some things that you can't say about certain people, you know, without their reaction you can't get the reaction that you want out of everybody. And so Will obviously was offended by what he said, and so, and I'm sure Jada was too. I mean, I just feel like comics just have to be willing to take whatever criticism or whatever attacks they get after they say something. So is it open season? I guess it's always been open season. Like there've been comics that, they get booed out of clubs and
oh no, we're just got a little connection issue here. I don't know if you can still hear us there, but here we go.
bad.
No problem. So let me say this. Let's take it to the streets. We're gonna talk just a little street with it. So, Will Smith, as people have been talking, West Philadelphia, born and raised on the playground is where he spent his days. You go into that whole thing, but from a street perspective, like I know, what Will Smith did was a sucker move. Because you walked up on somebody who had no idea that you were about to do anything, and you kind of snuck them. You're in the middle of a stage. You saw Chris Rock just looking at him like, "What's going up?" And you just snuck him and smacked him. As you know as well as I do, if somebody does something offensive to you, normally what you do is you give them that warning. You're like, all right, you better chill out. Like that ain't funny. Like you need to calm down. Especially somebody that, if it was me and you, especially somebody that you respect. Chris Rock is a well-respected individual. And so in that light, in the light of what was going on the street move, what he did, you actually saw a lot of cowardice out of him, because what you did was you snuck somebody, you walked away, made sure you was like 50 feet away, and then you started talking cash trash, where he wanted to come back and he wanted to yell and he wanted to cuss back. What do you think from that perspective? Like, people on one side saying, yeah, he was trying to defend his girl, but was that really just a sucker move?
I don't want to call it a sucker move.
I mean, look, let me put it this way.
It was a more
situation. Do you give somebody that warning
manly
first?
way? It was a more mature way to handle it, I think it was a more mature way to handle that, He could have gotten Chris Rock back in so many different ways, or really just had that conversation with him and been like, yo, that's my wife, man. And I heard that he didn't know that Jada Pinkett Smith was suffering from alopecia, which caused her hair to fall out. That's I heard that Chris Rock didn't know. And so
Chris Rock knew. I don't know. Chris Rock knew.
I'm not gonna say he didn't know. I'm just gonna say I heard that he didn't know. And if he didn't know, that's a different situation, So that's why I think you gotta communicate with people, man. Even though, Chris Rock was just doing what he does, And so, so I'm not gonna say it was a sucker move. I will say, however, had it been, James Corden or Jimmy Kimmel or, one of these other white comedians that said that, I'm pretty sure he wouldn't have reacted the same way.
Right. I'm pretty sure if it was Dave Chappelle, he wouldn't have done it either. And that's because Dave
I don't
Chappelle
feel like he would have reacted the same.
Nah, I think that he did it because Chris Rock is a small guy. To be honest with you, like you ain't about to do that to nobody you think is a real dude. Because again, what you did was you smacked somebody, and you ran back to your seat and then talked junk. Like, he definitely saw jump from 50 feet away in the safety of his seat. He ain't say nothing, up front. So
And I
I
don't
think
think, and I don't think anybody's giving Chris Rock respect for the restraint that he showed.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Because he just kept it moving. Like, I just got smacked in the face by Will Smith and just kept it moving. Like, and so he kept the joke going. So
yeah.
And nobody really, and I don't think people are really talking about that as much, because it could have been a whole,
whole lot worse.
It could have been a whole debacle, yo. It could have gotten a whole lot worse than it was.
Well, I go pivot just a little bit. We still on this, but I'm gonna bring in. I got another Chris here. I'm gonna bring in as well. And so the question that I have for both of you,
Chris.
Yo.
The question that I have for both of y'all, man, is
what up, man?
I'm good, brother.
All right. Yeah, but the question I got for both of y'all is this: we all know we've been in situations where, somebody gets offended, somebody's offended, whether it be a girlfriend, a spouse, another family member, and you know how you want to react, or sometimes how the female wants you to react. We know we've all been in those situations where they're like, you need to go defend my honor and do this or do that, thinking outside of ourselves. Because we know how we were when we were young or how we are now. Thinking about what we're talking about to these other kids, these other young people. How should they be reacting in a situation where you got somebody that you're supposed to take care of get offended? So again, like your spouse, your little sister.
You froze. You freeze up.
Now everybody's still there. Chris.
Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead, Chris. Chris T. How you feel about that? What would you tell these young boys about how you need to react in that kind of situation?
Oh well, one of my rules is I don't have any $1,000 plus punches left in me. Meaning I don't have bail money for ridiculous things. Cause that's what it costs to get out of jail. Whether you start it, whether you finish it, like you're gonna pay at least $1,000 and waste a lot of your time resulting to violence for one. And that's whether you win the fight, lose the fight, it's a draw. Like you're going to pay and lose time for not being able to exhibit self-control. That's just my rule. Like you can't take no money out of my pocket over an argument. Like I'm gonna have to walk away or give you space and time to calm down, because those type of consequences are just not worth any type of any situation. And if you're gonna have to brawl with somebody, like go into a bathroom, go outside. Don't be an idiot. Don't be an idiot about it. That's for one. Even though that is not the first means to which I would advocate anybody try to resolve an issue. But if you find yourself taking it there, like don't go to jail on top of it. That's one of my main rules. Like that's just ridiculous, because really what Will did, he could have been jailed. He could still go to jail tomorrow if Chris Rock changed his mind.
Right. If Chris Rock decided to press charges,
yeah, like all right, I want him jail, and I don't even think that would be a bad situation for Will, because when you get set down, you get to think about what you did.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think he need to sue him or anything for they both got money. Taking money from another person when you already got money really does nothing. But for the youth, I would just advocate like just think through things, and whew. That was a rough one, because man, everybody's had so much commentary about that specific situation, and I think it's a bunch of BS personally coming from Will, because their marriage got issues.
And you know what? And I'm gonna put that to you as well. So Chris W. I think that's the thing that'll throw you off, because what Chris said was a good point. The difference between what you and I can do and what some famous person can do is night and day. If anybody else had done what Will Smith had done, it surprised me. I'm sitting there thinking the security about to roll up on him and take him up out of there.
Yeah.
Nothing happens. He still gets to present his award. He at the after party chilling. Like, that's the difference. Like, I guess for young people, if you do what you just saw on TV, yeah, like Chris said, $1,000, like, you're going to jail.
More than that. Well, let's also put this asterisk by it. Had he smacked Chris Farley and not Chris Rock, he'd be in jail.
Come on now.
He wasn't gonna get up there and put his hands on anybody that was not of his similar complexion. Period. Mm-hmm. Like, you big and you in Hollywood, but you're not that big. No black person I feel like is that big. So that's danger number one. Like, you're putting a message out there that's really negative on two fronts. One is the violence, resorting to violence, and we know you not to be that type of person. So I kind of give Will a pass considering everything you going through, and it just seemed like Chris Rock was the recipient of all of the online jokes and everybody else that was getting at Will ever since the Red Table Talks have come out. Like, you have nobody else to take that stuff out on. Mm-hmm. You really probably upset at your wife because she played you. She embarrassed your entire family. And she was shameless about it, because I feel like, and I think she's at that point of no return. Like, yeah, I don't know of any 50-year-old women, 60-year-old women in the third quarter of their life that's going to downgrade to an August Alsina from a multimillionaire guy who's got fame, money, power, and you go mess with a dude half his age, half his size. For what reason? That lets me know Will did something so flagrant. I mean, so flagrant that, for one, she couldn't bring it up without further embarrassing herself. And so her resort was, all right, well, we on a break. I'm going to do what I do because I've been getting neglected. He been not taking care of home. So don't come back in the ninth inning talking about you trying to defend home base when you've been letting everybody else slide all over the plate.
That's an interesting point. There's a lot there. Chris,
it's very layered.
Let me ask you this. So do you think, because of the recklessness of how Will Smith has been with his book, going out here talking, just putting all his business on the street, how his wife has been putting all her business out on the street, as a family unit, did they kind of bring this craziness on themselves?
Did he bring it on himself?
Like the jokes,
maybe some of it. I mean, but I think a lot of what's happening with Will is I did read some of his book, and and I think, for real, he's really at that phase in his life where he's trying to correct some stuff that he wish he would have done when he was younger, and he got now he's got power, he's got the confidence, he's got everything he has, and so. Part of his book was he was talking about how, Jada liked Tupac so much, because he was a thug and he was about what, and he really, went hard, like that. And so Will always was jealous of Tupac because Tupac was, and this is something he wrote about in his book. It wasn't, this is not him just saying it, this isn't hearsay. This is him saying it himself. He was jealous of Tupac. And so, and then, to kind of hear some of the interviews that Jada did when she was talking about how much she loved Tupac, and how Tupac was so important to her, and how, she'll never love like that again. When you hear your wife talking about that, and then you got that whole, what was it? What did she call it? Her little thing with all the entanglement.
Yeah, interesting word.
Got a whole little entanglement, and you know what I'm saying? All of this stuff he's hearing all of this. And that's what they're talking about. They're not talking about the fact that this man is pretty much dominating the Hollywood scene. He's He's got movies, he's got TV shows, he's got all of this stuff going on. But we talking about his wife and his her entanglement, you know. And so like you know what? And I'm not sure if it's some stuff that he had going on. I can't speculate on that. I don't know. I don't know if he did something to hurt Jada, or I don't know. I can't speculate on that.
Man,
but I do know.
You can speculate.
But look,
I ain't gonna speculate on that for this point right here. Is that, you know what? If he's feeling like that and he had a space and opportunity to kind of write something that he felt like he should have done years ago, that was the time, that was the space, and the energy was right. And Chris Rock was just a recipient, you know.
Well, let me ask you this, Chris T. When you put all your business out in the street, I'm gonna ask this in an opinion way. If you put all your business out in the street, don't that give people the right and the ability to joke on it and talk about it? For example, the Kardashians put all their business out there, so they would be foolish to sit back and be like, "I can't believe you're talking about all the stuff I done put out here." So Will Smith done wrote a book. His wife got a show. They both putting all their business in the street. So when people start talking about your business, do you got the right to get mad? You the one who put it out.
Well, that is a little bit of a layered question because they're in the entertainment industry, and Will basically became an adult in front of the world.
Mm-hmm.
So his business was already gonna be out there to a certain degree. I think he could have done a better job at keeping it discreet. And he did with certain aspects of his life. Like, I didn't even know he had an older son in a first marriage for a long time. Like, that wasn't headline news. He managed to keep that discreet. But then I guess, you know, the longer he was in Hollywood and the more cameras he had in his face, he just became such a public figure. And when you live your life in front of the cameras and you get validation from the audience and from the general public, you also feel the pressure to always please them. And that's the problem, because when they don't like you, they invalidate you.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for that validation to come from other people, you also going to feel insecure and invalidated when they don't give it to you. And he said that the other day. I think I was watching something on YouTube, and Will was basically saying he just wanted Jada to be like, yo, you the man, you that guy. Everybody else around him is telling him, yo, you that guy. Like, you got #1 hits on what? He was rapping, making money. He was making movies, making money. Yeah. He had TV shows making money. Then he crossed over, and I think he might have produced something or two. Then you got your kids in the entertainment industry. Like, on all fronts, socioeconomically, he's winning. But in the areas of life that really matter, you're losing. Your family, your marriage. Like, those things outweigh your career. Because you can look back on your career and everybody will give you claps and applause. But if you come home and nobody's clapping and applauding, you really lost.
That's a good point. Good point. Well,
he just tried to overcorrect a little too sharp.
Right. Yeah.
He just tried to overcorrect. Like, I think his mindset was in a good place. Like, you could tell he didn't really want to go up there because he was laughing at the joke at first.
Right.
Yeah.
But then, you know, like, your old lady probably didn't cry a time or two after she lost her hair. Man, I've been growing my hair for 20 years. If I lost it, I'd probably cry too. I can understand how Jada feels, like, on that front. But he just overcorrected, man. And Chris Rock was unfortunately the recipient of what I feel like had been inner turmoil in that guy for some time.
All right, well, look, we almost out of time here, but I want to flip real quick, and I'm gonna ask both of y'all, so both of y'all to get a chance to respond to this. From Chris Rock's point of view, did he do the right thing? Then I forget the joke, because actually, you know, he benefited. He's benefiting a lot. From what I just read a report that him and Kevin Hart are going out to have a comedy tour, and the ticket prices have shot through the roof. So Chris Rock now has the most famous joke of all time, which wasn't even that good of a joke. And his ticket prices, everybody want to see what he has to say. So, Chris, I'm both of y'all, we're going to hit both of y'all, but from Chris Rock's standpoint, if you were Chris Rock, post joke, post being slapped, at this point, what do you think Chris Rock should do? Chris W., I'm gonna start with you.
What should Chris Rock do? I don't know, man. That's fun. That's another one of those things, man. Because you know what, and because Jada was one of the people that was trying to get him to turn down the Oscar gig he got in 2016, and she was one of the main people that was like, cancel the Oscars. And so I think this might have been, you know, a little bit of him coming back at her, but I don't think he should do anything. I mean, I think he probably should sit down and talk with Will, because he did embarrass him on national TV. And so if I'm Chris Rock, I'm trying to sit down with Will, or I'm trying to catch him where we can work this thing out. Either, you know, we can verbalize it, or, you know, we can discuss it however we need to discuss it. It need to be talked about, because, you know, regardless of it, you know, they power players, and it's happened, it's done. They need to find a way to get past it. But I'm saying, as Chris Rock, I'm not stopping. I'm gonna keep going, because that's what I do.
All right. Chris T, same question. At this point, after the smack is all over and everything like that, what should Chris Rock do?
Man, I thought about this all day, man. I was actually on that Joker Twitter account messing with Chris Rock. I think he got like one or two options. Like, you can go back to bigger, blacker 90s comedy jam Chris Rock, and you can really like flip it and roast him. Cause let's be honest, the brother deserved to be roasted for that, man. Like, Will been doing a whole lot of unreal black people stuff for a minute now, man. Like, I feel like some people in the black community just need to check him and bring him on back home. I've been saying he stopped being real. He kicked the real Aunt Viv off the show. But I really do think like the best method for Chris would be to somehow incorporate humor to make a point that's uplifting for black people, and in some type of way through his words and comedy, advocate healing. Like, that's my thing. Like, it's nobody in Hollywood that is not exempt from being under a microscope, and they all got they issues. Like, I mean, Chris Rock went through a divorce. He's still divorced. Like, he could talk about marriage strife in a way that may help Will and not make him feel so like just him against the world. And I think Chris has the intelligence to do that, and I look forward to him being humorous. You know, he's gonna take a couple shots because it's Chris Rock, but I think he's gonna bring it back home in a way, especially as a man who's in his 50s, to where it's like, look, man, like, we can't squabble, like, we can't be doing stupid stuff like that. And you can't take yourself so serious and life so serious when I'm literally one of the guys that's here to help you get over these rough times through my joking. Now, even though your wife didn't appreciate my joke, you know, I could have came with some more jokes or something, but I think he's gonna flip it. I think he's gonna use his comedy to flip it somehow, and I don't think it's gonna be a tit for tat, or he comes back at Will real strong with a rude commentary. I think it's going to be very funny, and I think he's going to hit on some points, kind of like Dave Chappelle has been doing with the last 2 or 3 specials he had. Like, it's going to be more about addressing political issues through comedy and racial and social issues through comedy. And now I feel like he can touch on marriage and challenges in marriage and relationships through comedy, and even comment on the challenges that black men have about communicating with one another and respecting and really lifting each other up through comedy. I think he's gonna take that route, man. If Kevin Hart don't egg him on, it's just be straight foolish. Cause you know a lot of people that just want to see the madness get sparked up. It's a whole lot of people that want that. That's what's gonna sell the tickets. That's what's gonna get all the clicks on the internet. Like, people want to see the madness. But we in a real interesting time. You know, there's war going on across the world. It's really a time for us to come together. not just in the black community, but really everybody that's in the United States of America, man. Like, we really need to get our stuff together. And it would be a good thing to see it begin with a problematic situation that gets resolved through no intermediary, through nobody in the middle, but just grown men apologizing and stepping up to the plate and being like, you know what, we're fathers. We got stuff going on that's way bigger than just our personal feelings, and we role models on top of that. Like, that was such a poor example of leadership from Will, and it comes at a time where you're supposed to be celebrating a lifetime award. Like, Oscars are not easy to attain. This shit, I think that, and this is his first Oscar?
Yeah, first
one.
Like, like actors fight their whole life to achieve the award. And what we remember from your shining moment is you losing your cool and slapping another brother. Like, that's taken away from Asterisk, another great black actor, getting notoriety. Like, now we talking about you slapping people.
Yeah. Well, all right. I'm gonna.
King Richard was a great movie too, I might add.
I didn't see it yet. I'm about to go check it out because Will can act, man. The boy cold. The boy good.
Yo, he one of the coldest.
Yeah,
for sure.
Oh yeah. I mean, you saw him go through 3 serious ranges of emotions in the night. Like, the Joker was laughing, then he got 38 hot, slapped somebody, then 30 minutes later you was crying. Like, bro, like, you got a lot of talent. Like, you can really bring it out.
Yeah, you did, yo.
That's true. That's true. Well, look, fellas, we passed the time. I'm gonna wrap it up by just saying this one little corny thing really quickly, and that's the fact that I think this highlights the importance of loving yourself. And regardless of what Will Smith is going through, I definitely think he needs to have a little bit of, I don't know how he feels about himself, especially with everything that's come out. And I'll say this, when I was young, I got joked for my hairline going away. I got joked because I used to have the wackest shoes. I remember I was in college and I had some Timbs and I had them the whole time I was in college, and people clapped when I finally got a new pair. You got to be able to take jokes, but if you are confident and you love yourself, them jokes are nothing. Your hair is not who you are. And so as much as Jada just rolled her eyes, and I think Jada's a lot stronger than how Will Smith is, you can take a joke and even though it be something, that really hurts you, it could be, you can take a joke and be like, that joke is not me. My hair is not me. When I was in school, my clothes and my shoes were not me. And so I think it's an important issue to, bring laughter back, man. We got to be able to joke on both sides. And when we talk about bullying and stuff like that with little kids, I believe in bullying because I believe that it makes you appreciate not bullying, but I believe in joking people, that it makes you appreciate who you are and love who you are. Because you should be able to laugh at yourself and not take yourself too seriously. And your imperfections should not make or break you. And so that's my little corny piece there. Guys, I appreciate y'all coming on. Appreciate y'all talking about this. Appreciate everybody who listened in. We didn't really have no comments come in today, but this was a good topic. So thank everybody. Thank you for joining us. We will be here again next week at 8:00, same time, same place. This is Impact 2022. Thank you, and have a good